Okay guys, here's recording 2. So this will be on the single price detailed methods of estimation, example 1b / 2. So we're going to look at the area method first. So as you will see in your examples, I'm just going to read basically the explanatory notes. If you read through the explanatory notes, everything will be quite simple and understandable. Okay, so the purpose of this example is to indicate the variations that occur in the area tariff of buildings due to the fact that the design detail of buildings, for instance the size, shape, height, fullness of plan, determines the tariff. Okay, so the sketch below shows 6 buildings of different shapes. Assume that these buildings are all constructed from the same construction materials, namely. Okay, so we're only focusing on one, so we're not going to focus on all 6. So I'm just going to look at one of the examples. So you're given the following rate. So your flat roof, you've got a rate of 700 Rand per square meter. Your surface bed, your foundations, your exterior walls, your interior walls, your first floor slab, and so on. Okay, so that's more or less what you need for this example. So let's have a look. So to determine the area tariff, your Rand per square meter for the building area for each building. So now we look at example A. So we've got a building of 6 by 6 and it's 2.7 meters high. So first thing that you do is you calculate the relevant areas. So your roof area is over the size of it, so it's not to pitch. So it's 6 times 6, it will be the same as your surface bed. And then your foundations you measure in length. Okay, just remember in your previous slide, make sure that these units actually correspond with the ones that you and the rates that is given. Okay, so and then you've got a exterior wall of your length, which is 24 meters times 2.7 meters high. Okay, so you've got a total elevated square meter of 64.8, and then you basically just use your rates and you times it out to get your total cost, and your area tariff is thus 107,856 Rand divided by 36 to get an area tariff of 2,906 Rand per square meter. Okay, so very straightforward stuff thus far. Okay, now suppose that this was a backpacker with 20 beds. Determine the unit area. Okay, so I've just put in some examples here to explain the rest of the methods of calculating your unit rates and your cube method and so on. So let's go to the next slide. So here we see you've got your beds and you've got your total cost for that building. So very simple, you just divide it by 20. So you've got 20 beds, or you've got a rate of 5,392 Rand 80 cents per bed. So whenever you're planning a new building for a backpacker, you will use this rate to calculate a very basic cost for the new building. Okay, very straightforward stuff. Okay, now suppose the strip footing is 250 millimeters thick and the excavations is 800 millimeters deep. Determine the volume and the cube rate. Okay, so now we've got our building and we've got our height of 2.7 and we've got our excavation depth and we've got our strip footing, which is 250 millimeters deep. Now we need to calculate our cube, volume and rate. Okay, so on the next slide, remember this. I think you guys will remember this by now. I've mentioned this a couple of times, so please have a look at these rules. So using our information that we've got, we assume that it is a concrete roof, and thus we're going to use 600 millimeters above our roof height. So we've got our total roof height plus our 800 millimeters minus our 250 millimeters plus our 600 millimeters to get a total height of 385 meters, or 3.85 meters, and we've got our area that we worked out previously, and thus we can easily multiply the two out to get our total volume for the building. Okay, thus our cost per cube is 107,000 divided by our 138 to get our total rate per cube. So sorry guys, this doesn't allow me to make a very nice sketch. Okay, so this is about how my drawing usually looks, so please bear with me, but it basically comes down to 778 Rand and 18 cents per cube. Okay, so here's another example. Now we just added our internal walls. So now you can see your interior walls. We just added that. So you've got your length added to that. So we've got 6 plus 6 times 2.7 times 2 times our rate to get a cost, and then our first floor slab. Okay, so this is now a double story, so I presume that it is calculated as such. That's why we've got the 2 in here. So the roof will be the same, and then we've got our surface bed stays the same, and then our foundations also stays the same. So we've got 6 plus 6 times 2 plus 2 times 6. So we've just added our interior walls as well, so you can see that that went up a little bit, and now we've got the exterior walls, which is our previous calculation, just times 2, because now we've got a second story added to the example, and then we've got our interior walls added to that, and also times 2 to get our total height. So very simply, we just add those together, we get our total cost, and it is just divided by our total square area, square meters. Remember, this is something that you need to remember. Our total square meter area is now the ground floor and the first floor. Okay, so you divide it by 36 times 2. Okay, very straightforward. Okay, now we get to our, suppose we had to determine the cost and only the unit rate was available, and we now know that the backpackers had 40 beds. Okay, so same story. We've got our total costs. We take our previous rate per bed, and now we just times it with 40 to get our new construction cost. Okay, very straightforward there. Suppose we had to determine the cost using the cube method. Okay, so now we've calculated the cube method the previous time, so now we just calculate our total volume now, adding the next floor. Okay, so we've got our ground floor, our first floor, and our total height and our total area, and then we've got a volume of 234 cubes. Thus we take our rate of the previous calculation and we times it with our total volume to get a new estimated construction cost. Okay, and that's the very basics of the square meter, unit method, and the cube method of calculations. Thank you very much.